Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I wanted to talk about something very, very important in understanding of bacteria, and that is the structure of the bacterial cell wall, inshallah. The way we typically like to understand bacteria is by classifying them in different types. When you study anything, you like to classify them into different types so you can categorize and your knowledge in a systematic fashion. So bacteria in general then are classified into gram-positive bacteria, and gram-negative bacteria. And the name gram is simply a name of the type of stain that is used to stain these bacteria before you look at them under a microscope. There are many different types of stains. Gram staining is a very colorful staining, and it uses bluish violet color and saffron reddish color to distinguish between two broad categories of bacteria, the gram-positive and the gram-negative. Now, the difference between these two types of bacteria is the cell wall. Now, so I wanted to just take a minute to understand that in some reasonable detail. So, like all cells, bacteria have membrane. So this is like their cell membrane. Okay. Now, if you think about it, the bacteria are the most ancient of creatures, and they live in like all kinds of weird, exotic environments. How are they able to manage that, right? Imagine taking a lonely cell with this cell membrane and throwing it, close to volcanic rocks. It's not going to survive very long. But bacteria are able to survive in extreme conditions and in various pertinent different types of environments because they have in addition to cell membrane, they have a cell wall. So this is their cell wall. That's outside the cell membrane. So if you were to draw a bacteria like this, and that would be a cell membrane, and the cell wall would be on the outside of the cell membrane, and it's reasonably thick over here. It's certainly thicker than the cell membrane surrounding like this. Okay, so that would be the cell wall. And the cell wall is made of a protein and sugar combo. So it's a sugar protein combo material called proteoglycan. Proteoglycan. And if you digest this word, if you take this word apart, it says proteo meaning protein and glycan meaning sugars. So it's a sugar protein combination material. Perhaps I could write this neatly. So protein, proteoglycan, and glycan. So what it is it's like a sheet of sugar material, like this, sheets of sugar like this, and they're attached to each other by protein bridges like this. Okay, so it's a carpet of sugar material on top of another, attached to each other by these bridges that are made up of proteins. So cell wall is critical into the survival of the bacteria. Now, gram-negative bacteria, okay, they look like gram-negative, don't mess with me type color under a microscope like this. Gram-negative bacteria have a proteoglycan layer. So like that's their little proteoglycan layer, okay? And in addition to the proteoglycan, they have a second layer of membrane. Okay, this is the outer membrane. And together, the outer membrane and the proteoglycan layer, they constitute the cell wall. Okay, so let me write these perhaps over here. So this is the cell wall here. Proteoglycan plus the outer membrane, whereas the gram-positive only have this proteoglycan layer. Okay, now if you observe the proteoglycan layer that is in gram-positive bacteria is much thicker is much thicker than there is in the gram-negative bacteria. You might think, therefore, that the gram-positive bacteria are like rough and tough, and it's going to be like, tough bacteria, right? It's actually quite the contrary. It is the gram-negative bacteria that are rough and tough and very difficult to kill. Actually, people get bacterial infection if they have gram bacteria as an infection, for example. That's actually in general, much more serious. You'd rather not have any infections, but gram-negative bacteria are notorious for causing trouble. The reason for that is because if they infect human beings, for example, they tend to be more difficult to kill. The reason is because of this outer membrane. Okay, now a cell membrane, or a membrane that's like this phospholipid bilayer membrane, is extremely sophisticated structure. So antibiotics, for example, that are to kill this bacteria have to penetrate not through one layer of membrane, but 2 layers of membrane, right? So in fact, gram-negative bacteria with the second layer, even though their peptidoglycan layer is smaller, the gram-negative bacteria, because of the second layer of outer membrane, they tend to be harder to eradicate and much more difficult bugs to deal with. So this is the structure of gram-positive bacteria, a membrane plus an outer proteoglycan layer, the cell wall layer. And gram-negative bacteria have a peptidoglycan layer, and then an additional outer membrane. And together, that's the cell wall. Now, in addition to cell wall, bacteria can have a capsule, a bacterial capsule. But the capsule is actually outside of the cell wall. It's kind of like a gluey, sticky substance that can go on the outside of cell wall like this, either in gram-positive or gram-negative bacteria. So the capsule is in addition to the cell wall. If a bacteria has it, they don't have to have a capsule. So these are distinct terms: membrane, cell wall, and the capsule of the bacteria. And it is this difference in the structure of the cell wall which gives these 2 different types of bacteria their different colors after the gram staining. With the gram stain, the gram-positive bacteria will appear bluish purple in color, and the gram-negative bacteria will appear reddish purple, like this. Okay, so it's important to understand this basic structure of the cell wall, and if you want to appreciate the different natures of the bacteria, how they behave, and also how they are stained. As I said, the capsule is outside. Will be outside the cell wall if a bacteria is going to have a capsule. They're not required to have capsule. Some bacteria have capsule and some bacteria don't, but all bacteria have a cell wall, whether it's a gram-positive type cell wall where the peptidoglycan layer is very big, or gram-negative bacteria where it has a second very tough layer of membrane. And that's the major difference between gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Until next time, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Assalamu alaikum.